強くなったの。
Yo, what is up everybody, it's Joe here, back with another Naruto related video. And with this video here today, kind of wanted to get into this topic, as you can tell with the title of what that is, because it's been a trending topic in the community, and it's been highly debated as well in the community, despite it being a quite simple matchup to conclude on. So with today's video, I really want to kind of illuminate how this topic and this matchup specifically really isn't a debatable one, and the winner of this matchup is quite easy to conclude on, right? So similar to the video made recently by Billy, shout out to him, I decided to do this video unscripted. That means no script was written. I'm doing this the same day that I decided to do the video, to kind of further illuminate that, again, this topic is not hard to analyze nor conclude on, and you don't need some god tier script to do that. So again, that's why I'm deciding to do this video unscripted, just like Billy did, and shout out to Billy. So Hebi Sasuke, right, is an individual in the community and an opponent and shinobi in the community that has been heavily debated himself, aside from this matchup, right, against Mode Naruto, specifically the scaling of Hebi Sasuke. So I'm going to begin by scaling him, and I think the first and probably the most important aspect of his scaling is his speed, right? So there's been this bizarre scaling that has been circulating and infiltrating into the community, with that being that Hebi Sasuke has KCM1 levels of speed or beyond, right? So let's first kind of break down why that claim came to be. So essentially, Hebi Sasuke, after force absorption and after the defeat of Orochimaru, is able to stop Soigetsu and Jugo from attacking each other when him and Taka go to recruit Jugo, right? And with this feat, individuals correlate that to Soigetsu and Jugo, specifically Soigetsu, against the Raikage during the 5 Kage Summit, and people claim that because Soigetsu was able to block the attack of the Raikage, that he is beyond the speed of the Raikage. Now, an important note I must make, and this is just in general for scaling, is that a misconception that individuals have when it comes to scaling is that when they hear an individual's name, they automatically conclude that that individual is at their best and using their full capabilities in whatever said scenario or situation they are in, right? So for example, with this one, because they hear the Raikage's name, they conclude he's using light speed in this instance, trying to hit Sasuke, and because Soigetsu was able to intercept that attack and react to it and defend it, he is above that and hence above the Raikage. But that's actually incorrect and not the best way of using logic in general, not just in this scenario, but in scaling in general, because you got to analyze the contextual parameters of any such situation that you're analyzing. So when we actually analyze this situation, firstly, not every attack has equivalent speed in a shinobi's arsenal, right? We know that the Raikage, at his maximum, right, with his maximum capabilities in mind, is capable of at least relativistic speeds to light, right? It's stated in the data book. And when he's using his full speed, that's when he's at that level of speed, right? Specifically when he attempted to blitz Minato, and also when he attempted to blitz Naruto during the beginning of the war. That's when his speed was at that level. In this situation, that is not the case, right? When analyzing the contextual parameters of this situation, when he's attempting to hit Sasuke, he's not in V2 first, he's in V1, and he's using an attack that he has to bring up and bring back down, right? He's like bringing his arm up, and gravity's aiding him, and he's coming down in a lateral motion, right? He's not using his full combat speed in this instance, right? So Suigetsu getting in front of it does not substantiate the claim that he is light speed. That's not the Raikage, even in his max speed form, which is colloquially called V2, and he's not using his most maximum speed attack, which is the lariat and the sort of dash that he does when he's, such as against Minato again. So to use that as a reference to substantiate Sogetsu's light speed and hence Hebi Sasuke is above the Raikage is incorrect and miscontextualization of what actually took place and of the actual scaling of Hebi Sasuke and Sogetsu as a result, right? So what is the actual speed of Hebi Sasuke? Well, we get a reference point, right, or sort of a metric when he combats Deidara, right? That's the most drawn out battle that we are given narratively and canonically in the narrative, right? And in this battle, what we do know is that Deidara admits inferiority as far as speed. He says he's too quick, which is why he had to use strategy, right? He had to use landmines and he had to use an aerial advantage, right? Because he needed a territorial advantage in the situation due to the inferiority in speed. Because in close quarters combat, we can say Hebi Sasuke is faster than Deidara. But when analyzing that battle, you can conclude relativity, right? Because it came down to the wire, right? And another aspect that you can analyze is the very fact that Sasuke was unable to outrun the explosion that Deidara used with C0, right? And we can conclude that explosions are not remotely close to light speed, right? The sort of radius that explosion encompasses as it goes outward and the energy propagates is certainly not light speed. And in fact, we could actually further substantiate this claim by actually doing an approximate calculation of the detonation velocity of C0, because during the time of the explosion, as it propagated outward and encompassed its area of effect, again, i.e. being around 10 kilometers in radius, individuals were actually having conversations amongst themselves, such as Sakura and Kakashi. Now, the reason this matters is the average words per minute for an individual engaged in conversation, in casual conversation, is about 150 words per minute, right? And in the manga, we see individuals iterate several words, meaning this explosion took several seconds. Now, the speed of light is 300,000 kilometers per second, singular. Now, if this explosion were even relativistic to the speed of light, this explosion would encompass its area of effect in a fraction of a second, and that's an understatement. In fact, if it were the speed of light exactly, it would take a 30,000th of a second for that explosion to encompass the 10-kilometer radius that it encompassed. And not even one word could be iterated in that astronomically high level of speed. So the point is that if Sasuke really were KCM1 level, even if we do give him the benefit of the doubt and say, well, he was fatigued and he wasn't using CM2, and we give him a 10 to possibly 20 times decrease in speed, he still wouldn't be remotely close to the speed of light or even to levels relativistic to the speed of light. So this sort of quantitative calculation further just illuminates highly and brightly the fact that Sasuke is not remotely close to the speed of light at this point in time in the narrative, right? Again, this explosion is not remotely close to the speed of light, and Sasuke barely, with perception speed, was able to reverse summon himself out of there and was unable to use his travel speed to escape the explosion that, again, is not remotely close to the speed of light, as it took several seconds, long enough for individuals to have conversation for it to encompass its radius of effect. And again, if this were an explosion even relativistic to the speed of light, the explosion would have been done in a fraction of a second. A fraction, not even 1 second. It would have been hundreds, possibly thousandths of a second, even if we say it's not exactly the speed of light, but simply relativistic to it. Now, if it's the speed of light, it would be a 30,000th of a second when dividing the kilometers per second compared to the 10-kilometer radius that it encompassed, and we look at the difference of time that light would take to travel these respective distances. So this qualitative, educatively guessed calculation is quite possibly the best one to conclude, because it shows blatantly that Sasuke is not remotely close to the speed of light at this point in time, right? All of this, plus the other empirical pieces of evidence I extrapolated and elaborated on, such as Raikage against Sogetsu, etc., all feeds my claim without being that Hebi Sasuke is not the speed of light, right? So I really wanted to make that point hit home, because I think it is very important, as this claim specifically I see is the claim that is the most trending and widely supported in the group of Hebi Sasuke supporters, I guess you could say, or sort of highballers is the better word I'm looking for. So again, I really wanted to make that point hit home, and so that's why I had to really get thorough with this one. Now, the next aspect is his caliber, right? A lot of individuals are under the notion that he is beyond Sannin level, right? And that is not the case, and here's why. I'm going to substantiate why that's the case. Firstly, Sasuke admits inferiority post Deidara fight when Karin states, "How could you be the one to take down Orochimaru?" Right? And some people say and refute this point by saying, oh, when Sasuke says I only took him down because he was sick, he's referencing that older iteration before he absorbed Orochimaru. But that's not the case, because he is responding directly to the statement that Karin makes, in which she is referencing his current version, right? She's saying, how could you, right, the current Sasuke I'm looking at, be capable of taking down Orochimaru? And then Sasuke in return says, I only took him down because he was sick, right? He didn't say, oh, I'm stronger now. He didn't say anything of that matter. So while it is theoretically possible that he could be talking about his older iteration when he was not what he is now and didn't have Orochimaru absorbed, it's more likely via the dialogue given that he is not, in fact, Sannin level. And in fact, to further substantiate that, Deidara had a quite competitive altercation with Gaara, right? Deidara versus Gaara at the beginning of Shippuden. Now, Deidara is the superior, but there's enough when analyzing the context to establish relativity, and here's why, right? Deidara had the advantage of being able to use the village as a hostage figure against Gaara when combating him, right? So for example, when he dropped the C3 bomb, or attempted to, Gaara had to quickly maneuver and use chakra and use effort to catch it and stop the explosion, sacrificing chakra, sacrificing effort, energy, etc. Now, you can refute me and say, well, Deidara was holding back, Deidara had to capture him, Deidara won in the end, but the point is there's relativity, as both had handicap placed upon them, which is enough to establish relativity between the two. And Gaara, not even in the war arc, is Sannin level, as the most impressive and capable during the war arc were Tsunade and the Raikage and Onuki. In fact, Gaara had a ferocious battle, stated by the databooks, with his father Rasa, who was killed by a Sannin, right? So in fact, that further substantiates that Deidara, nor Gaara, nor Hebi Sasuke are Sannin level, and hence Sasuke is certainly not above Sannin level, which further substantiates the speed stuff as well, right? He's certainly not KCM 1 speed, right? Because he would certainly be above Sannin level at that point. Now, aside from these aspects, I'll get into the other ones quickly. They're not as important in this matchup anyway. You'll see why as we go on. But as far as AP, Sasuke's AP is formidable. The best AP is capable of is with Kirin, is capable of destroying what appears to be a large hill. That's not to be sort of disregarded. That's impressive. Durability is enhanced by Orochimaru. It's hard to quantify the exact durability. It's clearly not anything to disregard. He was able to continue to battle after getting a wing blown off by Deidara. So his durability is not bad, but I'll get into Naruto's as well. And that's really about it for Hebi Sasuke. I really wanted to mostly debunk the strange misconceptions, inaccurate representations, and miscontextualizations of Hebi Sasuke scaling. So now let's get to Sage Mode Naruto scaling, which I believe is a little bit misunderstood to a degree as well. Naruto's speed is quite immense. Now, against Pain, he's able to blitz the Asura path when it attempts to take out Tsunade, right? It rushes her and attempts to blitz her, and he's able to blitz it and destroy it, right? His speed is quite immense. It is a problem for Tendo Pain. And Tendo Pain has to, once he deduces the workings of Sage Mode, sort of plan around how to defeat Naruto, because in Sage Mode, he's extremely capable, right? His speed is quite immense. And to further substantiate that his speed is immense, he has a better performance than Jiraiya does against 3 Paths of Pain in the Rain Village. And I know people always say, well, in the Rain Village, Pain was stronger, right? And yes, that's where the signal is the strongest, right? With Nagato being the signal for the chakra that is being infused into the Paths of Pain. However, when looking at the context, Pain wasn't really trying against Jiraiya, and once he did, he immediately disposed of Jiraiya, even in Sage mode, right? So it's not like he was going all out. Against Naruto, he had all 6 paths of pain present, and Naruto was still able to react, combat, etc. against these paths of pain. So that's something to keep of note. Yeah, they were fatigued, and yes, there was prolonged battle prior, but to suggest that Pain was incredibly weak at that point in time, I believe is hard to prove. You'd have to substantiate why that is. Yes, he is farther from the chakra signal that is Nagato. However, he was still very capable, and in fact fought Six-Tails Naruto afterwards as well, so he's obviously very capable of battle, with Six-Tails Naruto being way above Sannin level, as Four-Tail Naruto was able to nearly kill Jiraiya and Orochimaru, right? So Pain, even heavily fatigued, later on near the end of the Pain arc, was still able to contend with Six-Tails Naruto, right? And that was an even more fatigued Pain that was dwindling in chakra and dwindling in ability, etc. Right, so that further substantiates that Tendo Pain was incredibly capable, right? This Tendo Pain was a Tendo Pain earlier in the Pain arc, right? Prior to the Six-Tail Naruto altercation, right? More capable, more chakra, etc. So he was even further beyond Sannin. And he struggled again with Naruto's speed, right? With Naruto's ability to react. Naruto was able to blitz the Asura path, etc. Right? So all these contextual parameters need to be analyzed when assessing the speed, as definitivity is impossible, right? Because there's just ambiguity that can never be concretely, definitively concluded on. But we can establish this probability, right? We can establish probability. We can establish likelihood of claims, and based off the contextual parameters of the Pain arc, Pain was far beyond Sannin, far beyond. For him to be far, even considerably beyond Sannin near the end of the Pain arc, fighting Six-Tails Naruto, and then even containing Eight-Tails Naruto with the Chibaku Tensei, just substantiates that even far away from the chakra signal, and not in the Rain Village, Pain is far beyond Sannin level, right? Far beyond it. So that's something I had to bring up to really hit the claim home that Naruto's speed is immense. Not to get into his caliber, I kind of already foreshadowed what it is. He is beyond Sannin. I kind of established empirical evidence for that, right, with his performance against the paths of pain, kind of running through them and even giving Tendo Pain a hard time, in Sage Mode specifically, and even the statements from the Sage mentor himself, Fukasaku, right, the mentor of even Jiraiya and Minato back in the day. So clearly there's statements and empirical evidence to suggest that he surpassed Sannin level. At that point in time, that was the checkpoint in Naruto's career in which he surpassed Sannin level. So in fact, his speed is beyond that of Sannin, and his caliber overall as a shinobi is beyond that of Sannin as well. Now, to get into the other aspects like I did with Sasuke and just quickly touch upon them, as far as AP and durability, as they correlate, simply put, his AP and durability is immense. He's able to throw in the air multi-ton rhinos. He's able to break the chakra rod of pain in half and not even have it penetrate his skin, right? Which is insane, which just further illuminates the durability and the AP that he's capable of. So that would be extremely advantageous in this matchup. Now again, I just kind of want to quickly touch up upon that. So to kind of get to the matchup now, after debunking certain misconceptions and enhancing the sort of clarity on the scaling of these guys, who would win? Well, simply put, there's just a gap in caliber, right? As I've established, Sasuke is below Sannin. He's below Sannin. He's able to barely beat Deidara, who had hard time with Gaara, who even in the war arc, stronger isn't even the Sannin level. He's struggling with his father, who again couldn't even take out, defend himself against Orochimaru. He's just outclassed by Naruto. He's outclassed by him. Again, the weird speed scaling was debunked as well. He's not KCM1 level. That's just not the case. I substantiated why that is via proof by contradiction. Naruto would outspeed him. Naruto would blitz him. And if he gets a shot on him, he will morbidly wound him. If he's able to throw multi-ton rhinos in the air, if he's able to parry extremely potent chakra rods, if he's able to go toe-to-toe with Tendo Pain, who's far beyond Sannin himself in close quarters combat, while conversely, Sasuke struggles with Deidara, then simply put, he would get overwhelmed by Sage Mode Naruto. In physical combat, he will be overwhelmed, right? In combat speed, in all the aspects, the different speeds, he's outclassed. Perception speed, combat speed, physical speed, whatever colloquial term you want to use, he's outclassed, right? So even if you use the Genjutsu argument, it's unlikely, as his perception is inferior to Naruto's, right? Naruto has better speed scaling than Hebi Sasuke does, and again, I proved that. So simply put, Sage Mode Naruto would quite handedly defeat him. He is upper tier Akatsuki level, while conversely, Hebi Sasuke is more so in the middle of the pack as far as Akatsuki level. Yeah, I know the statement, the databook statement, his power surpasses his Sannin. Again, databook statements are a lot of the times hyperbolic, and if you can find contradictions in the narrative, you can conclude them as hyperbolic, right? For example, Tamari is stated to have winds that blow away the universe. Clearly they don't, right? As we see in the narrative, she's blowing away trees and stuff. Is she blowing away the entire globe and even more so? No, so it's hyperbolic. Now with the Sasuke statement, we see him admit inferiority to Sannin. We see him lose to someone that's almost lose to someone that's below Sannin in Deidara and have a very competitive and near stalemate altercation. Right, so that statement doesn't matter. Statements are overridden by feats, and feats usually take priority with the right, of course, contextual parameters. So that's essentially my thoughts on this matchup. Again, this is unscripted. I wanted to do it again. The reason I'm doing it unscripted is because I just wanted to show you don't need a god tier script to conclude on this matchup. It's really not a very hard matchup to analyze. It's quite simple. It really is. But I really wanted to get in depth on some things, because you can make sophist claims on Hebi Sasuke's scaling when you miscontextualize the parameters of his character, the parameters of situations that involve Jugo and Soigetsu, right, which I explained earlier, when you misclassify the sort of effort that opponents use, that shinobi use, such as the Reikage, right? When people hear Reikage, again, like I said, they think, oh, light speed, right? No matter what situation is in or what altercation is in, but it's not that simple. There's nuance, there's this context, there are parameters that need to be analyzed, and you need to be thorough in your analysis to come to an accurate answer to the question to establish probability in your claim, right? The problem with topics like this is that you do a surface level analysis, right? And on the surface, it sounds right? Because of the sort of notions we have of certain things, of certain shinobi, of certain scaling. But when you go and dig deeper, you find that there are flaws in those claims which lower the probability of those claims and enhance the probability of your own, right? Which is basically what I was doing here. But yeah, folks, I don't want to get too long-winded in this video. That's basically all I have to say. Of course, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I know there's kind of like a sort of group that think Hebi Sasuke really is KCM1 level plus. Feel free to leave your disagreements, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and let me know if you'd like more content like this. I'll see you in the next one, folks. Stay classy.